Hi, I'm A. Martinez, and I'm on the School of Hollywood.
Hey, welcome. It's I've been a fan of yours going all the way back to LA Law, and
Oh,
you've won the Alma Award what three or four times, something like that, which is a very prestigious award. Soap
mm.
Digest nominated several times for an Emmy Award, and very honored to have you here today because you are one of the greats in Hollywood, coming from television and also film.
Bless your
I'm
heart,
gonna
sir.
I got to ask my LA Law question
Okay,
first.
okay.
So you actually played two characters on the show. Did it start out like as a guest star, then they changed their mind, want to make you a bigger character?
Yes, exactly. I played a character who was a childhood pal of Jimmy Smith's character, and I had gone down the wrong path, and I was basically about to be put to death in the gas chamber. And reached out to him to try to help me. And of course, there was no help to be had because I was guilty, and it was an amazing experience. I, I I don't think I've ever been in a situation guesting on a TV show where I was given so much nourishment, so much opportunity to work with. They sent me a short story by Jean-Paul Sartre about the last night in the lives of three prisoners who were condemned. They sent me medical information on the way cyanide actually kills an organism, and it was just so full of rich support. And then I showed up on the set a couple of days where we were going to shoot it, and Bill Finkelstein and Jimmy and another guy and I sat around improving, running the work, and they would take notes of what we improved and take it upstairs and print it up and bring it back down, and we do it again. So the whole thing was profoundly organic, and I used so much of what I learned from them in making the performance. The thing that was most notable about it, that was so surprising, and I thought gave me an opportunity that was so sweet. Cyanide will kill you whether you breathe it or not. It actually attacks you through your skin. So I thought I'm going to have my guy decide that in the gas chamber he's simply not going to breathe. He refuses to breathe, so that'll prolong his life. And I got to play his surprise at realizing that that plan was not going to work because the substance was coming into his body through his skin. It was beautiful. And then later I got asked to come back and play a new guy and be a lawyer on the show. And I was just amazed that I got to do that because it was a show I loved.
Well, obviously from the performance that you delivered, they said yes, we've got to have him back on here. So you have a new project that's on Netflix right now,
Right.
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop. Yeah.
So
It's
that this is a little different than Longmire.
Oh God, yeah.
Longmire.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's based on an anime that was beloved all over the world about 20 years ago, and it's a live reboot of it. We did 10 episodes. We shot in New Zealand, and John Cho plays the lead of it. He's just great in it. It's I was thinking watching it, there's really nothing that I've been able to compare it to. I mean, it's reminiscent of some things, but it has so many different elements, as did the anime. It's got a sense of film noir in it. It's got sci-fi. It's got like 70s retro, like black exploitation pics. It's got kung fu vibes in it. It's super mashup-y, and it's a miracle to me that it works the way it works. It's like any other show, any other series. You start off and you have something, and then you find a new path as you learn, as you do, and it just lifted off beautifully. It ascended through the 10 episodes to a tremendous peak, and I'm really proud to have been a part of it. It's one of the best things that's happened to me, actually.
Fantastic. I got to tell you, I can't wait for the Michael Bay project you've done, Ambulance. The
Mm.
trailer on that thing
I
is
know.
explosive.
I know. Yeah, he's amazing. Who knows how what he's mastered this language. It's amazing the grace with which he composes all this mayhem, or bayhem as they like to call it. Um, yeah, it was an amazing experience, and I actually was doing Cowboy Bebop when I auditioned for it. These days, of course, that's the norm. Actors audition, put themselves. They do their own auditions. So
Yep.
The good news is about that you get to do it just the way you wanted. You're not driving home on the freeway after being in the room and going, "Oh, I wish I would have. Only I would have thought of doing that." When you're doing it yourself, you have no excuse not to think of whatever it is that you need to think of. So, I sent my son Dakota the sides. He was in Los Angeles, and he recorded Jake Gyllenhaal's side of my scene, the audition scene, and he did a real nice job. And I dropped that into my own work and sent it in, and dang, it worked. It worked. It was such a beautiful surprise.
Self tapes.
There you go.
It's the future.
Yeah.
Did Michael Bay kind of like visualize all the scenes, or did he storyboard it when you were going into each one of them that you did? Also, can you talk about it? Because I noticed on IMDb, just a couple of the names that they have characters, but everybody else is actor on it. So I don't know if you're under NDA and you can't talk about it. If you are, obviously you don't.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I don't think I am under NDA to that degree, and if I am, I've like foolishly forgotten. And I'm a forgetful person sometimes. But no, I don't know what his process was in terms of whether he storyboarded it. It was loosely based on a Dutch film that came out maybe a decade ago by the same name. It's the same basic idea. Two guys decide to do something and it goes sideways, and their only escape from the situation they're in, is to get into an ambulance. And the thing that I thought was so magical about it. He's a fluid dude. I mean, he's in the moment. He's got the camera on his shoulder. He's looking at you through the lens. He's actually witnessing the movie being created in his eyes and mind. And so much of what was magical about it was his willingness to just go for something in the moment, to decide to compose something visually and ask you to respond to it in a way that was purely a visual language. And then when things got a little sticky, he was amenable to improv starting to happen. And there was some amazing improv on the set between Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who played his brother. And the two of them did some stuff that made the hairs on your skin stand up. And boy, it's in the movie, and it's just fabulous. I was so blown away with the talent and the confidence and the grace that he brings. It was a privilege, actually.
Can you talk about what your character is?
Yeah, I will. I will say that he's the equivalent of a godfather to Jake's character. He's somebody that has been a criminal all his born life, pretty much, and he's known Jake since Jake's character was a little boy. He's known them both since they were little, both the brothers, and they ask for his help, and he is willing to provide it, and therein lies a tale.
Great. Do you prep for movies different than you do for a television show?
That's a really good question. Well, not in any central way. I mean, you basically break the whole thing down and put it back together from as many points of view as you can. That's what I do. I start just imagining the various things that go into making a character, and then I start notating pretty much every idea I have. I try to get on the page of the original words. Eventually, my original script is just dense with small notations everywhere, and then basically, you nurture those notes. Some of them fall away as you start to choose a path, and then I literally put stars around the ones that I'm going to honor on the day. And then when you get there, and you start to do it with the other actors, and you're in the real space. You learn more, and something else takes over. It's never what you planned exactly, but you have to have been prepared to a really profound degree to feel comfortable to feel the challenges that'll come that you couldn't have anticipated. It's a wonderful process.
You're also on an Amazon series called The Bay. How do you manage to stay this active from one show to another show?
Well, from my point of view, from the way that that I'm looking at it from the kind of day to day of my life, I wish that I had more to manage than I do. And I'm always trying to get more to manage. But basically, you just I think more than any other single thing, especially as you get older, your job is to stay prepared, to stay ready, so that if something comes up, because you just don't see a lot of it coming. I mean, I'm not the kind of guy that can book a lot of things in advance. I'm not fielding it like a giant slew of offers and choosing among projects. I'm waiting for things to come and trying to get them, and I'm auditioning a lot. And I understand that your job is to stay ready, and that's sort of the task of it. That's at the core of the spirit of it, is to stay ready, to, like, on all levels, maintain yourself in as close to perfectly ready as you possibly can. And of course, that has benefits in your regular life, because it forces you to take care of yourself on a level that otherwise would not be necessary.
Yeah.
When I was starting off, I had no problem wasting time and money and partying my ass off, and now I take really good care of myself so I can continue to function well.
One thing that I've brought up to actors in the past is that don't always just talk about acting, 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 acting. You have to do other things besides acting. Have you found that to be true in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what the only thing you can bring, really, I mean, you bring your body, obviously, but you have to bring your mind and your sense of values, right? You have to process things through the templates that you've created and that you maintain. And it's a really elegant process. I love it so much. It's one of the great privileges to be an actor, actually. I can't believe I got lucky enough to actually be doing this. But yeah, you got to do exactly that. You got to bring your real life. You have to live a life and bring that to the table. I was really fascinated watching the Beatles documentary that's out right now that Peter Jackson did. He got access to 60 hours of them in the studio around the time they were finishing up, and to watch the process by which those guys bring their life experiences into that music, the stuff they created, and managing the political dynamics of being in a band. I've been in bands in my life, and that's the hardest thing I've ever tried to do. To hold a band together over time is so hard, with all these cross relationships within this group of people. It's just incredibly difficult to do. And that they did it as long as they did, at the level they did, and the scrutiny they were under, you realize that they could not have done it except for the fact that they were people who were living extraordinary lives, and they brought those lives into the creative process.
There's also another great documentary out there on Paul McCartney. Breaks down all the songs, or not
Mm,
all the songs, but it's a documentary series that's about eight episode limited. Really
mm,
great, and how they
mm.
came up with the ideas of the songs. Worth taking a look at. What advice would you give to young actors on playing a camera on a soap versus on a movie?
Well, yeah, I would say prepare. Just prepare. Obviously, your preparation is compressed when you're doing a soap. I mean, when I was doing Santa Barbara for the first time, the process of doing an hour show every single day was almost more than I could bear. I had to reconfigure myself to do it. You have to prepare, and I think it's really important. Not everybody agrees with this, but I think it's really important to show up as clear as you can. I didn't always do it. I got to a period when the show, I was so tired coming home from work that I'd sit down with my wife and we'd open a bottle of wine, and I'd drink more than my share of it just to have a personality at dinner, because I was exhausted. And by drinking the wine, I had more personality, I thought. But the truth is that starts to chew you up after a while. So you got to stay healthy. You got to stay healthy. And I think that the process is basically the same. You're trying to act well and be true. The grace of soaps is that you get to do it as if you were on stage in a theater. You get to do the scene once. They're cutting it live with multiple cameras, and so anything that happens can be in the movie. Whereas when you're working on film and shooting things one piece at a time, it's much more painstaking, and you have to, like, be cognizant of everything you do has to match, should match with everything else you're doing, so that the editor doesn't lose their mind trying to put your performance together in the end of the day.
I saw that you actually created your own projects that you produced, you direct, you wrote, and you acted in it. Which of those roles was the toughest for you to do?
Um, I would say probably directing. It's so merciless. I was always afraid of it, actually, when I was younger. I thought, wow, can you do it? Um, I talked to a friend of mine who produced the show Profiler that I was in the cast of, and he directed an episode every year. And I said, "So is it hard?" And he says, "It's just terrifyingly hard. It's so exhausting because through the entire episode, you're never not under the gun." He said, one time I was so relieved in this really difficult episode. I thought, well, I need to go to the bathroom now. So I'm going to go out to the trailer where the bathrooms are, and I'm going to have like 2 minutes to myself while I go to the bathroom. And he said, I pulled up and got ready to go to the bathroom. And sure enough, the assistant director steps in beside me and starts asking me questions. And, I'm thinking, there it is, right? You're never not on the hook. The thing that surprised me when I directed, and I guess probably because I waited till I was older, is that I had an answer. I had a thought for every question that got posed. You get asked all these questions about everything all the time, and I think before you do it, you wonder if you'll know how to respond. It's not the kind of gig where you're really supposed to say, "I don't know." Your job is to know, and so I may have gotten it wrong, but at least I had some idea of how to approach everything that came up as a problem, and that was it was hard, but it was also a relief, gotta say.
Are you looking to do more projects in the future,
I,
producing, directing, writing?
I am. It's the single most important thing to me, actually. I'm writing a movie right now that I envision as a pilot, and there's nothing more important to me than that in my life. I've been working at it for quite a while, and it's in a really good place right now, and I have high hopes for it going forward.
Fantastic. Is there anything else that we don't know about that's coming up in release?
Well, no, those are the things I think. The Cowboy Bebop I highly recommend. It's not clear that it's going to go beyond the 10 episodes. It seems like it won't on Netflix, but I got to say, hold out hopes that it'll go beyond that somewhere, somehow. But it's a wonderful ride, and if you're not familiar with it, you might even be at an advantage, because I think the people that were fans of the anime are a little bit, a lot of them, understandably, are reluctant to see anyone remake an anime with live human beings, because it's never going to be the same. But it's a wonderful ride. The work in it is just fabulous. There's an actor named Alex Hassel playing the villain, and he's one of the great actors I've come across in recent years. He's going to be doing Macbeth with Denzel Washington and Fran McDormand. That's coming out before Christmas, and he's a genius, this dude Alex Hassel, and he just is stunningly great as the villain. So I would recommend Cowboy Bebop. And then the base coming out, I think, the week after Christmas, the season, whatever season this is now, and I have a lot to do in it. I'm in a lot of episodes of it, so that'd be fun to watch. And then Ambulance, which I believe is going to come out April 8th at this point. So please watch.
One final question for you.
Yeah.
When did you find in your career that you had made it?
Wow. I don't carry that, but it's irrational. But because I've been doing it for so long, that of course you can say that I made it, because I've survived up till now. But it's so hard, and it hasn't gotten easier. I audition so often, especially these days, when you have, the power to do exactly what you want in an audition. At the beginning of this year, I did so many. I tried out for so many things, and I was so pleased with what I ended up getting, what I ended up doing. And most people found it perfectly easy to cast someone else instead. I think one of the things that's happened to the business is that instead of a casting director sort of holding the gate open and 15 people come into her or his office to audition for something. Now, since we're doing everything virtually, instead of you're competing against 15 people, you're probably competing against 150 people. So the chances of you getting the job have shrunk. All of us are fighting harder odds. It's been democratized to the advantage of people that maybe would have been overlooked, I think, previously. But it's hard. It never has gotten to the point where I think, wow, I'm finally there. I'm still struggling to like keep the strings, keep the beads on the string, as it were, more gigs, trying to find the next one.
That's great words to say, because a lot of young kids, they end up out there going, yeah, I landed on a TV series. I don't have to think about anything else. All the jobs are going to come to me. And you're a great actor with great success over the years. And to hear that you're still having to audition for projects, that's going to open up the eyes of some of these actors out there.
It's true. It's not for the faint of heart, I'll tell you that. But I know, and I so appreciate your kind words, man. And I do the best I can, I'll tell you that.
Where can people find you on social media?
I'm at A-Bone Martinez, A-Bone Martinez on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. It's funny, I tried to be A Martinez on Facebook when I finally figured out, hey man, I better get on social media. And I punched in A Martinez and it wouldn't take me because it wouldn't consider it a name. So like an insane person, I waited 10 minutes and punched it in again and it still wouldn't take me. So I thought, well, this isn't going to work, right? What can I do? And then I thought, well, my daddy has always called me A-Bone. He's given all the kids nicknames and mine was Bone. So I was A-Bone. I thought, well, I'll say Bone is my middle name. So I just punched in A-Bone and I was instantly in. So after years and years and years where no one except my family knew that I was Bone, now I'm Bone all over social media. And so I'm A-Bone Martinez.
Fantastic, A-Bone. We're glad to have you here today.
Thank you, Steve. It's a blast.